Hi, Shep Hyken here, customer service expert and author of Amaze Every Customer Every Time. And we're going to talk about 5 ways to create customer amazement. Now, we're going to be talking about customer service, and it's important to note that customer service is not a department, it's a philosophy to be embraced by every person inside of any organization. And that means everyone, not just the people on the front line, because again, customer service is not a department, it's a philosophy. Now, when I talk about customer amazement, I'm not talking about over the top, blow me away, wow levels of service. I mean, every once in a while, that's going to happen. But the key is with customer amazement is just to be a little bit better than average, but it has to be all of the time, consistent and predictably a little bit better than average. So let's get into 5 ways that you can create customer amazement. Number 1, manage the first impression. Now, this isn't just the first time you meet somebody. It can be the 500th or 5 millionth time you see someone. What you're doing is you're setting the tone for whatever interaction is to follow. So it's the way you greet people, the way you walk up to them, and what your body language is saying, what your facial expression is saying, how you look people in the eye, how when you greet them and you shake their hand, is it a firm handshake or is it something weak that doesn't show confidence? It's how you address people, how you're dressed for success. Are you dressed appropriately or dressed for whatever the situation is? And how do you answer the telephone? Do you welcome people into the conversation or do they feel as if they're an interruption? Manage the first impression. Number 2, demonstrate your knowledge and expertise. Knowledge and expertise creates credibility, and credibility creates confidence, and that's what customer amazement is all about. Know what it is about what you do, about what your company does, and even what your industry does. That's credibility. And by the way, if you don't have the answer, it's okay. Just know where to go to get the answer, because that's just as important. People might ask you a question. You might say, great question, but to make sure I get you the right answer, I want to do a little bit of research, and I promise to get back to you at a specific time. And then, by the way, you follow through. Bottom line is knowledge is power and credibility, and that's what creates customer amazement. Number 3, enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is, you've heard it, contagious. But if what you have is not enthusiasm, that's also contagious. Now, that doesn't mean you jump up and down and you act crazy. No, enthusiasm comes from your heart, and people like being around enthusiastic people. So have a joy for what it is that you do. Love working with people, and that's a big part of creating customer amazement. Number 4 is consistency. Consistency creates confidence. Confidence is credibility, and it's so important in creating customer amazement. Now, what I mean by consistency is an all-the-time, everyday effort to be your very, very best, especially when it comes to taking care of that customer. Think in terms of the famous actor Richard Burton, who would do his shows, and people would come back night after night to see him in his plays. They would come back show after show because he tried to do the very, very best that he could do every time he walked out on stage. As a matter of fact, he was known to say, I want to be so good tonight that I cheat the audience that was here the night before. Can you be that good? Can you be that consistent with your effort? And when you do, that's going to create customer amazement. And finally, number 5, show appreciation. Say thank you over and over again because your customers want it and expect it. And you know what? It's a need that they have, that they know that you appreciate them. And it can be as simple as picking up the phone and calling the customer, or doing it in person if that's the appropriate thing. And how about just shooting an email or even a text if that's the way they like to be communicated with. Or take the personal approach and send a thank you note, which is an extremely powerful, personal way to say thank you. Bottom line is your customers want and expect to be appreciated. Well, there you have it. 5 ways to create customer amazement. You know what's interesting about this? These are all common sense ideas, but guess what? They're not always so common. But if you don't just practice one, but all 5 of these together, you'll be creating customer confidence, which, as I mentioned over and over again, creates customer amazement. So there you have it. Now, if you want to learn more about this and maybe read a bunch of articles, please be sure to visit my website, which is www.hyken.com. There you'll find much more information about what we do and over 250 articles that you're welcome to make copies of and share with your clients. So remember these 5 amazement principles. Thanks for watching. This is Shep Hyken reminding you to always be amazing.